Cutting them off is not sad, okay? I remember I recently was relatively forced to make some serious cutbacks in my life when it comes to people and relatives specifically. And another relative mentioned how sad it was to be in this state. And I said, you know what? And I really mean this. It's not sad. It might be sad, but it's not sad compared to what the other reality was. The other reality was me bending over backward, not literally, but backwards, sideways, all these kinds of things to try to get the acceptance, to try to get this person to see me and treat me the way that I want to be treated and prove myself, and this game of tick for tat and hurting them, they're hurting me. That was sad because it was just a never ending cycle. That was sad. This is evolution. Cutting off, you have to grieve and mourn that relationship, because sometimes they're hard when you have to just be like, you know what, I can't interact with these people anymore. Doesn't mean you don't miss them, and those moments can be sad. But is it sad? No, because if you had to get to the point where you had to cut off someone that is a relative to you, you didn't get there lightly. There had to be other things that led up to that. So it's not sad that you are standing up and setting your boundary and standing firm in your position. That's not sad. What was sad was you living in delusion, hoping that because this person is this particular thing to you, that perhaps they're going to act like that. What was sad was you, me, us trying to appease someone, trying to do all these extra things to be this and be that. That's sad. That was sad. But establishing boundaries and keeping your distance, that's not sad. That is evolution and progress. Now, are there moments that could be somber or sad, whatever? Sure. You might miss them, sure. But after a while, when you think about, just like that song, that Janet Jackson song, she was like, and then I thought, what about the times you lied to me? What about the times you said no one would want me? What about all you done to me? What about that? What about that? What about the times you lied to me? What about the times you said no one would want me? What about all that you done to me? What about that? What about that? That's what happens. You have to remind yourself, don't get lost in the nostalgia of what was and color it with glitter and stuff. No, after you go through, oh, that was so fun, memory lane, but then I thought, why did you have to cut them off in the first place and keep them cut? Because the next time you invite the beast into your space, they know a little bit more about you. They know a little bit more about the house. They know a little bit more about this. They know a little bit more about that. And they have a little bit more to get you. And they say, as George W. Bush said, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me, you can't get fooled again. Fool me one time, shame on you. Fool me twice, can put the blame on you. So if you know who you're dealing with at this point, because if you don't watch enough videos of mine, especially with this particular thing, because this is like what I've just been talking about multiple times, at this point, you should know by now who's doing certain things to you. So if you know it, and that's your knowledge is power, and you allow someone to continue to be around you and to continue to do stuff to you, at that point, you're getting what you're asking for. You get what you deserve because you know better and you're choosing to do the wrong thing. And so then whatever happens, you brought upon yourself. The good thing is you always have an opportunity to do better next time. Because really, to know is to do. So if you know better and you don't do better, you don't technically know better, because to know is to do. But at the same time, if someone continues to do stuff to you over and over and over again, and you cut them off, keep them cut off. And is it sad? Perhaps. But what was sadder was the old you. And at least now you only cry because of the memory of what could have been, not because you spoke to them every other day. So at least now perhaps you cry once a month instead of every single day. Because that was sad. What was sad is you barely living and smiling, and meanwhile life is passing you by, going to be in the same position year after year after year. That was sad. But what's sad was misplacing and not understanding what real love was because your parent left you and you had abandonment issues. That is sad. What was sad was looking for that relationship to replace in other relationships, keep being in toxic relationships because you don't know how to pick someone who has emotional availability. That was sad. This ain't sad. Keep that MF cut off. And if you haven't cut them off, cut them off. If I'm talking and you're thinking about someone specific, this is more than your sign to cut them off. Figuratively. Just because you don't really know what people are capable of. Let's start there. People say all the time, "Oh, we didn't think such and such could do that." You hear that all the time. You need to protect yourself, period. And if someone has shown you that they habitually are willing to cross the line with you over and over and over again, at some point you have to accept that that's just who they are and minimize your interactions with them. Some people don't need to hear your dreams. Some people don't need to hear the good things in life. They say don't show diamonds to swine. Like, don't show yourself, because what? They're going to eat it, or they're not going to appreciate it the least. The most thing they're going to do is keep walking past you. That's the best thing that could happen to you. The worst thing is they could take it, run, and eat it. But then, at the same time, you the fool that brought the diamonds to them. You the one that did it to yourself. So, you have power as well. And that's another example of knowledge is power. Because when you know that that's what you're doing, so the next time you interact with that emotional succubus, you'll know that that's what you're doing. And then you'll get to decide, do I want to keep doing this? Even if you don't want to cut them off completely, cut them off somehow. Do you really want to keep showing and sharing your dreams with this person? You have to be stronger and be mindful. Is that really what you want to do? You want to do that to yourself? I know you might really want to share with someone, but find a community group on the internet and make a fake profile if you want to and share that with somebody. Go and get a plant and share it with your plant. Talk to the freaking tree. I'm serious. I be doing that stuff all the time. When I was working somewhere that I was not super fond of, and I had a plant, and I used to talk to that plant. Me and that plant were like this. I would tell that plant things I didn't tell anybody. I'm serious. So, get you some. If you got to get it out, draw a face on your hand and talk to it. Do anything. But don't tell the person that you know is not going to appreciate it, something like that. And then keep getting your feelings hurt, because they're not going to change. They've been this way for how long? They're not going to suddenly see you. And if they are, it's probably because they want something. I look back at some of the situationships and past relationships that I've experienced, because I've lived, all right? I'm like, oh my gosh, I was toxic too. And for the longest, I couldn't see anything about me. I mean, I knew I could, grow and evolve, obviously. But, now that I have and am doing some serious inventory on my emotions and baggage, I was like, dang, I was all kinds of effed up. And what about it? And I'm still here. Look, I'm still doing stuff. So what? Things happen, And like, my thing is, like, if you don't have anything that you look back and be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. Have you ever really lived? And more importantly, have you grown? If you are perfectly fine with everything you've ever done and you would do everything the same exact way, kudos to you, baby. Okay? And if you look back and you think, man, if I had the opportunity to do this thing, I'd probably do this instead. That's proof that you've grown and evolved. So of course you're going to look back at things and be like, you know what? I would do that differently now, because that to me would be healthy. That would be the healthy way to evolve. Does that mean that you would go back and change it and really go back in time? Because me, nah, the me who I was in college and the me who I am now, I would not have had an amazing, I don't think, as amazing college experience if I was me now, versus at that time. Like, the me then had to be then. The me now has to be now, because you change, you evolve. The old you, the new you, the this, the that, that stuff is real. And so I just think it's important to just recognize that you have the ability to continue to grow. And instead of holding things against yourself of, I can't believe I did this, you can say, wow, look at me recognizing that I can do better. Look at me growing, because I'm glad I wouldn't do that again. Perhaps I've evolved, and that's a good thing. And people will say, I can't believe you did that. Whatever. I can't believe you had the nerve to say something like that. Shut up, you judgmental. And then they be the ones. I remember there was this time when, I don't even want to bring that up. All I'll say about this, because I really don't want to put this person out there like that. There was this time where this particular girl was telling me all high and mighty why she would never do a certain thing. I would never do this. Okay, whatever. But she was trying to be shady with it. I remember I had one person say I was trying to be shady, but really I was just talking. But I didn't realize that the way they were taking it. And because they didn't say that it was rude, it was just weird. So I was like, whatever, I was totally caught off guard. But this particular person was a B word. So we already know what was up. And I was trying to figure out, how am I going to stop being this girl's friend? How am I going to do this? So then the perfect opportunity happened and I took it. But so this particular time though, she was like shaming other people for a certain kind of thing or whatever. And then come to find out, she did the exact thing that she was saying she would never do. And I can't believe people do these kinds of things. And it turns out that she actually did it because she got exposed in a crazy way. So, what I've discovered is the people that are super shameful and super critical have done the same or worse than you, and they're just trying to make you feel bad. There's no other thing to it. There's nothing, and there might be, but there's nothing more that needs to be said. People that really judge you and try to hurt you with those things you can bet your everything that they've done worse. I have another relative who always used to call me bougie and try to say it was a bad thing and shade me because I became a Delta and why did you want to go to HBCU and this, that, all of these kinds of crazy things. Now this person is an avid HBCU rep to everyone who will listen, even to the point where I was he didn't want me to go to a HBCU, right? And then this other person was like, are you serious? And I was like, yes. And they were like, are you for real? And I'm like, yes. And you see how he be acting, right? Crazy. The switch up is crazy. But it really came to a head when someone else called me, right? They FaceTimed me because they were all with this particular person. And they're like, yo, you're not even going to believe what I'm looking at right now. And there was this particular person sitting next to a Delta, wearing and just in the bougiest attire that you could ever possibly imagine. All this kinds of stuff. And I'm like, I thought you didn't like any of this stuff. I thought all this stuff was I'm not gonna really go into it. But it's a good story to prove the point. I thought all this was and that. Why are you so upset? What's the problem? This is what's going on, partner. I thought you didn't like these things. I thought when it was me, it was bad. So I've just discovered that a lot of people that do those things, and I can go on and on and on and on with examples, they are the ones who are doing it. The people who will come at you and try to make you feel bad about things, oh, best believe they got worse going on. Because there are people that will help course correct you, but then they will not shame you for it. There's a difference. You can most certainly say, hey, are you certain that this is the way you want to do things? Like, as long as you can do those things, and you can be blunt and be like, look, you being stupid. This don't make any sense. What are you doing? That's different from, oh, you so, oh, you know what I'm talking. There's a difference between looking out for someone and truly wanting them to improve and just being mean and calling it honesty. You're trying to hurt this person. You might also have part of it wanting to do something else, but if you're lying and you're doing something behind closed doors and you're telling someone else how horrible they are for doing that thing, you're a hypocrite and you're a liar. And you have to be careful of people like that. You have to be very mindful. You have to be aware. You have to recognize that that person has already shown you off of something small what they'll do. And that's a sign. That's a red flag. And it's easy to miss and be like, oh, well, that's just how they are. Yes, that's how they are. And more importantly, that's who they are. And just like that Kanye West song, they'd be like, but now, as I recall, I love to show off, but something never thought that I would take it this far. But what do you know? That's a good song. Kanye got some bops. But the point of that is, like, you don't really know how far someone is willing to take things. So you have to be mindful of people that habitually cross the line, people that habitually shade you and show you that they really don't like you. You have to be mindful and aware of that, no matter who they are to you, no matter what your history is, because you really don't know what people are capable of, unfortunately, a lot of times until it's too late. Whatever that means. So, if after I said this, if you're thinking about someone specifically, perhaps it is time that you figure out a way to apply some distance to yourself, because you need to keep yourself safe. You are responsible for you. You need to keep yourself whole so that you can be the best version of you for everybody else. But if you're walking around here half of yourself, you're never going to be everything you can be, because you can't even operate at your full capacity. And it's okay to recognize that perhaps someone is not good for you. Perhaps you do need to distance yourself from someone if they're coming to your mind from this video.